Damien Rzeszowski was 31 years old. He was born in Nowy Sącz, Poland in 1980. Damien served in the army. He met Izabela Gaska in 2004, and the two moved to St. Helier, Jersey in the Channel Islands to live with Izabela's 55-year-old father, Marek Gaska. St. Helier is the capital of the Jersey Islands. It's a popular tourist site. The island has a population of around 104,000 citizens. Damien and Izabela married in 2005. Their daughter, Kinga, was born not long after being married. Their son, Kasper, was born in 2008. Damien worked as a foreman's assistant. Izabela was a loving mother. She dedicated her time to her children. Damien wanted to return to Poland, however, Izabela wanted to stay in Jersey. She informed Damien that she was having an affair but that it was finished, and she would not see the man again. In July of 2011, Damien attempted suicide by ingesting a large amount of pills. He was hospitalized and released the next day. After seeing Damien in the hospital, Izabela said she realized that she does love him and will never cheat on him again. After this incident, Damien and Izabela decided to try to put their marriage back together. In an attempt to fix their marriage, the family took vacation and went to Poland in July of 2011. During the vacation, Damien had a one-night stand with a prostitute in retaliation for his wife's affair. After returning from their vacation, on August 14 in 2011, the couple decided to have a barbecue and invite a few friends and relatives. On the day of the barbecue, Izabela left with her father to pick up Izabela's best friend Marta de la Haye and her 5-year-old daughter Julia. Damien stayed to watch their two children. Marta de la Haye, age 34, and her husband Craig were having marriage difficulties of their own. Marta and Craig had been married for 8 years. One night Marta spotted her husband kissing another woman at a party, and the two argued later in their home. After the argument, Marta called the police, but because Craig had scratches on his face, she was the one arrested and faced charges of domestic violence. Marta needed a bail address, so she decided to move in with her friend, Izabela, for a while. Izabela and her father picked up Marta and Julia and their things and headed back to their home. Upon returning to the home, they found the two children unattended and Damien was nowhere to be found. Soon Damien returned and the couple argued over him leaving the two small children alone. Despite the couple's argument, they went ahead and had the barbecue. Sometime after the barbecue, at 2:48 p.m. on August 14 in 2011, emergency call came in that a man was chasing a woman with a knife. When police arrived, they discovered a horrific scene. Izabela's father had been stabbed 9 times. A large butcher knife still protruded out of his back. Paramedics attempted to revive him, but all efforts failed. In the lounge, a baby lay on the floor in a pool of blood. Kasper had been stabbed 13 times. He was already dead. Further into the home, they found Damien, who was moving around and moaning. He was covered in blood. He had slashed his own wrists, and repeatedly stabbed himself. Paramedics asked Damien how many people were in the home, and he answered 6. So they knew there were more people they needed to locate. His wounds were addressed, and he was taken by ambulance to the hospital. A large knife was found by the door leading to where Damien was found. Further into the home, they found 2 women and 2 little girls. Izabela and her best friend Marta, and their daughters, Julia and Kinga. All 4 were rushed to the hospital. All had multiple stab wounds. The only person who was awake and able to speak was Damien. Izabela, Marta, Julia, and Kinga all were pronounced dead on arrival. Damien was the sole survivor. 6 people were killed in less than 15 minutes. By the evening Damien was sedated due to his injuries, so he wasn't interviewed until the next day. Authorities believed Damien was the perpetrator. Officers were placed outside his hospital room. Damien's friends noticed changes around July of 2011. They said his behavior was totally different. He became quiet and withdrawn. It was clear something was wrong, but he wouldn't confide in anyone. Investigators believe Damien took 2 large kitchen knives from the kitchen and first attacked Isabella's father. They believe this was calculated to eliminate the only other person physically able to stop him. He was watching television in the living room when Damien snuck up behind him and began stabbing him repeatedly. The knife lodged in his spinal cord. This attack left him unable to walk. He was able to crawl into the hallway where he was found later by police. Police believe the second victim was 2-year-old Casper. Casper was buckled into his high chair playing with some toy cars when his father attacked him with the other knife. He was stabbed 5 times in the chest. He was then slammed onto a table where he received another 38 stab wounds to his back area. He then fell to the floor where he died. Kinga was next. She was stabbed 3 times in the chest, and 13 more stab wounds to the back. She was stabbed 16 times. Julia was attacked in the living room. She was stabbed a total of 16 times. However, after some time she was able to get up and make her way to the hallway. When Damien realized she was still alive, he attacked her again. Police believe Damien forced Isabella to watch as he attacked everyone she loved. He then started attacking her. She was stabbed a few times, but somehow was able to run to the bathroom and lock the door. While Isabella was in the bathroom, Damien turned his focus to her friend, Marta. He began stabbing her just inside the entrance to the front doorway. Isabella attempted to call for help, but dialed the Poland emergency number of 997, but didn't get through to anyone. She ran past Damien, and out the door. She was screaming for help. Damien chased right behind her. Isabella fell and Damien began stabbing her in the back. Witnesses began yelling at Damien to stop. He threatened the witnesses, then began stabbing himself in the chest as he walked back into the house. In just 15 minutes 6 people were brutally murdered with no mercy. Witnesses describe the shocking events to reporters.
And then she was just lying down, her head towards the door, her feet were just down the stairs, but she was really soaked with blood. I did not have much to say to her because Brian started talking to her, and then as I just took 2 steps forward to see what's happening, I looked on my left, there was nothing. It's when I turned and I looked on my right, I saw a man with a big knife now chasing another girl with a black top. And that 1 minute, man, I think Brian has gone to, I don't think, get some trousers off. Me and Philip just went towards the man, and as we saw, he just grabbed the girl at the back, and yeah, he was just stabbing her.
And this was all in front of you?
Yeah, he was really, and it was not poking, stabbing, and then stabbing, and it was. Yeah, I think he did that 3 or 4 times.
Luckily, the girl was able to see us, and she sort of ran to our side. And as she saw when she was coming closer, the guy sort of stopped, and he was just talking to himself and shouting. And then we were able to pull the girl backwards, and then that's when now the guy was coming forward, and he was just stabbing his chest. So we were able to, all of us ran backwards up to where the guy was, and then as the guy was moving closer, I was able to pick up a traffic cone, and so just swing it about, and then the guy went into his eyes. Just shouting and stabbing his chest or going in.
The man did not give us a high contact. That's what surprised me.
No eye contact?
Completely, he just looked down. He just looked down, and then he looked so hungry. He was angry, and he was just stabbing himself.
Stabbed himself?
So, more than 20, I think 15 to 20 times. And it was not just like that. Really, with the black goats just lying there. I think the man, where they were lying, I think the man was crawling towards the little baby. He was just like
Memorial services were held at St. Thomas Church in Jersey. 6 candles were lit to honor their memory. All 6 victims were then returned by family to Poland to be buried in their home country. Damien's trial was held 1 year after the murders. He had undergone extensive psychiatric evaluations. Damien claims diminished responsibility, saying he heard voices leading up to the murders. However, prosecutors argued he was angry over her cheating, which led to heavy drinking. That he was a pressure cooker that one day just blew. That his killings were all calculated, saving his wife for last so she could watch each family member and friend be slaughtered before being slaughtered herself. Prosecutors argued that Damien was a man who had difficulty in controlling his emotions and communicating his frustrations. The court heard how the marriage was under considerable strain after Isabella's 2-month affair, and how he threatened suicide and suffered from severe depression and psychotic symptoms. Damien was found to be of diminished responsibility and only charged with manslaughter. In October of 2012, jurors gave Damien a 30-year term with the possibility of release after serving 20 years. Judge Burt told the court, "The horror and brutality of these killings is hard to believe. Within a quarter of an hour all 6 people had died, their lives cruelly cut short at the hand of this defendant. The court is in no doubt from the nature of the attacks that you intended to kill all 6 victims. This was not a case of murder. The court found you guilty of manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility, but you still pose a risk of harm to anyone you are in a relationship with." Family Liaison Officer Detective Constable Daria Harasimois read a statement for the family. "Our hearts were broken when the hearts of 6 wonderful people stopped beating, people who should still be with us today, however they are already with God. This tragedy is even more painful as we have lost our children and grandchildren, knowing that we will never be able to play with Kinga and Julia again or cuddle little Casper, and we can never talk to Isabella, Marta or Marek again makes the pain unbearable." Detective Superintendent Stuart Gull told reporters, "Today is not a day for vindication or celebration but sad reflection. The events of the 14th of August have left a sad, indelible mark on Jersey's history." On March 31 in 2018, Damien Rzeszowski hung himself in Falls Sutton prison. He only served 6 years of his sentence. Isabella's sister, Mrs. Kaczmarek, said, "We were shocked, although we suspected that one day he would do it, as this would have been his 5th attempt at suicide. We thought that he was well guarded in prison, so there should be no chance that he could take his own life. I think his death may help to give us some closure. That is the end, but it is not my role to judge him now. Damien has to stand before God, and I believe God will judge him justly." A garden was created outside Kinga's school by her classmates. Inside the garden there is a blossom tree that blooms with her favorite color, pink. Damien Rzeszowski fits the profile of the family annihilator who murders his wife in retaliation. He found out she had cheated on him, and for revenge he slaughtered everyone she loved in front of her. If that wasn't enough, he then murdered her. Because he had depression and attempted suicide, he was found not to be responsible for the murders and sentenced to 30 years with parole after 20 years. He was a savage monster who deserved death. Eventually the monster hung himself in prison. May all the victims in this case rest in peace. That concludes this episode. Keep your eye out for the next volume, coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.
Want to help support the channel you love, and get something in return? Simply purchase some Elizabeth's Chronicles merch. We have coffee mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, cozy blankets, beach towels, phone covers and more. Use the coupon code EC10OFF4U and get 10% off your order. The link to order is in the description area below this video. Thanks for helping Elizabeth's Chronicles continue to make the videos you love.